Great job. Oh my God. Thank you guys. Yes. Thank you, Scott. Thank you. Aren't they great? God. You know, I miss that. You guys don't know what we have here. I mean, when you go out into other New Faith communities, and I'm not going to bag on anybody, but when you go out in New Faith communities, we have something that it's not out there. Wow. We have an energy here. We have a commitment by this center, and it's been there for decades, but it's just phenomenal. So I am blessed to have been a part of that, and I think you guys are so blessed to keep going with it. And I think this staffing team is doing, ministerial staff is doing a great job. We really are. So I'm going to reframe that, what you just heard. Because a lot of us, when we hear those things, sometimes we can go back to Catholic school. I went to Catholic high school, and I remember those days, right? So when we hear some different rote prayers, and we're talking about one people, one planet, one family, and so people worship differently. And so it's nice to be able to, when you hear something like that, to be able to kind of reframe it in your mind so that it makes sense to you and you don't have to question them about their faith. Does that make sense? Yeah. So today I'm going to strive for that, and I hope that maybe one thing you walk away with, you go, oh, okay, that made sense. The rest of it, well, Joe was off his game. So, all right, so let's play the game. So today we're going to talk about a different perspective. First off, isn't it interesting, if I gave a talk, I swear to God, if these churches like this gave talks about an angry God and about a lot of people wouldn't mind that. They wouldn't mind that at all. In fact, we could probably build a mega church if we talked about an angry, judging God, right? But talk like we talk here, and people go, oh, that's the Fruit Loop church. They're like, oh, that one. Yeah, that's that one. When they used to drive down Portola, this used to be the Church of Religious Science many years ago. So you had Church of Religious Science, and you had this Christian Science or Scientology over here across the corner. So people would drive down Portola, and they would be like, oh, God, don't look. It's like they're doing stuff with chickens in there. I don't know what they're doing, but it's scary. So if you're teaching this stuff, some people don't want to hear about it because it goes against the grain of their traditional religion. What I've come to realize is that some of the most amazing people are covered in tattoos and they wear heels. Some of the gentlemen do. And some of them, the most bitter, hateful people talk about going to church. And so I want to change that for us. I want us to be the light in the communities, the light in your households, the light in your neighborhoods, the light in your HOAs, the light in all of those things. So you're bringing the light to them. And by teaching the things that we teach here and things that I'm talking about today, you can sort of bring in a different message that they can relate to they don't feel is so far off base. Does that make sense to you? Yes. Okay, so here we go. Just remember this before we start. You're going to be way too much for some people. I say let them find less. Don't shrink into your greatness. You have to stand in your truth. So I've been told that there are times when I'm too much. I struggle believing that from some people, but I also know that I need to surround myself with people that support me in that. And you the same way. You stand in your greatness. So here we go. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. In order to find, this is my interpretation, in order to find the God that created us, we have to stop following the God that others have created. And now I'm not bagging on anyone else. I'm just saying for us, the God I believe in today has definitely changed since the God I believed in a year ago, and 5 years ago, and 10 years ago. My God and my relationship with that presence is evolving. And once it stops, I don't know what happens when you get to Forest Lawn. No one has ever, I've asked Marion to contact me. Reverend Marion has not called me back yet. I don't know what happens at that point. But I do know that as I progress and I start seeing things happen in the world, my idea of what God is and what God can be changes. So I have to dismantle the God that I used to believe in and begin to reframe and build a bigger, greater God. One that can see through some of the messes that I have found myself in and some of the messes that you all have created in your life and some that we've created as a society. So the first thing we have to do is when we say, "Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name," I got to reframe what that means. I want to disconnect from the old God that I used to believe in and start applying and allowing myself to move into a new energy, call it whatever you want, a new power, a new energy, and align myself with that. That's how we'll start. Does that make sense? Yep. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Here you go. Actions prove who someone is. Words prove who they want to be. Thy kingdom come will come when we stop talking about it and do it. Until then, it's a lot of spiritual lip service. You know what I'm talking about? The one that always has all the ideas about all this greatness, but then they don't ever apply it. And look, anyone will tell you, especially now, I am no saint. I know, hard to believe, isn't it? Hard to believe. But I can tell you what, I know that through all the things that I have done and experienced in my life, I have created and done the work for people. You know, I never really officially had a retirement party here because of COVID. We never really, we all just sort of like, oh, Joe left. We won't even address what happened after that. So someone kept asking me, do you want to go back into this? And I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I know that I've done my work for you and for the hundreds and hundreds, maybe even thousands of people who were here over the past 20 years. I want everyone to do that kind of work. It's not incumbent upon just your ministers or your practitioners or whoever the minister is. It's incumbent upon you as now your own spiritual minister to minister to other people, to let them see that your words, you do more than words, you do the action. You're actually doing it. Does that make sense? Give us this day our daily bread. My friend David Alt, remember David Alt? Some of you may remember David. David wrote this, and I thought it to be really interesting. Give us this day our daily bread, which in the old interpretation could mean, give me my bread, something to eat, right? But he said this, bread feeds when broken open. Soil grows when broken open. You are not broken. You are the world's nourishment continually being broken by design. A new way to look at the bread. A new way to look at the bread. Who here has ever, if you've ever felt broken, say amen. Amen. For those of you who didn't, you're not telling the truth. Okay, who here has felt broken in your life? Amen. Okay? But you're really not broken. The universe is just creating an opening for you to flourish and do something else. Many times my brokenness were the times when I found my footing. Does that make sense? And it, bless you. And it's one of those things where you look and you go, can I reframe my brokenness? Can I reframe this discord in my life? And if you can reframe that, do you know how much further ahead you are? Because you're not going to be carrying the baggage around of the problem that you've created or been part of. And for the lack of other words, sin, meaning mistake. Right? I will not have to carry those mistakes around anymore. I understand that my brokenness is going to be part of my expansion. Now, does it feel like that when it's happening? Hell no. No, it doesn't. It feels chaotic. It can feel sad. It can feel scary. You may feel like, oh my God, what have I done? And then you look up in the heavens and you go, oh my God, why have you done this to me? And then you look in the rearview mirror and you realize you did it to yourself. Ooh. Some religions don't like that. They want to be able to blame it on the devil. Well, you divorced her, you married her, you buried him. I mean, come on. You can't blame it on them. You were a participant. Everything that's ever gone wrong in my life, I was there. I sometimes, like you, have been the lowest common denominator in that equation. And although I try to search for variables outside of myself, my variable is always in that mathematical equation. Joe is there. Sometimes saying things he shouldn't say at a time when he shouldn't speak, but rather should be quiet. And forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. So how would I reframe that? When you have someone going through a storm, don't become the broadcaster. Get an umbrella and cover them. Because, are you getting this today? Because many times when someone comes with a problem, you go, well, you're the one who, especially metaphysicians, they're the worst. They come with you with a problem, you go, well, you're the one who created it. It's like, you think that's helping me? Do you think that by telling me that's going to change one single thing? It's going to make me want to have lunch with somebody else is what it's going to make me want to do. You don't need to remind me and and then they're like, and then remember the time you did this? Shut up! We're going to get to shut up here in a minute. That's coming up. But at this point, when you have someone going through a storm, get an umbrella and cover them. Don't lecture them. Just be there. And interestingly enough, if you start doing that for other people, you never know. Someone may do it for you. Because whatever you put out, you get back. Biggest lesson, right? And lead us not into temptation. Holy cow. Let's reframe that. You can't heal in the same environment that's making you sick. Anybody that's been in recovery knows that. You can't stay in the environment that made you sick. Anybody that's been in a toxic relationship, you know this. Anybody that's had any health issues, you know this. You can't stay in the same environment expecting something to change if you don't get the hell out of it. And who's going to have to make the move? You are. And don't always rely on someone else to help you do that. Don't expect someone else to show up to do that. If you want to stand on your own 2 feet and get through it, then by all means stand up. That doesn't mean you don't have to have help at times, but at the expectation of someone else to be there to always get you through it, then you're never learning how to go through it for yourself. You're not creating your strength, you're relying on someone else to give you that arm. And sometimes it's important in the spiritual relationships that we have with ourselves, with that expansion process, that in our brokenness, we repair ourselves. And I'm not saying you don't do it without the help of others, but you repair yourself so that you can stand on your own the next time. Does this make sense? Yes. All right, so I'm not boring you. But deliver us from evil. There we go. If you can't say something positive, they say, don't say nothing at all. No, shut up. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of all the controversy. In fact, we have a group of friends that we have in Fort Lauderdale, and one of them has a boat. Yay! And I learned I don't want a boat. But I love friends having a boat. So we go out on the boat, and suddenly someone will dive into politics or what's going on in Florida, whatever it is. And I'll just go, did you know that Macy's is having a sale on sheets? And that has become our safe words. Those are our safe words, because as soon as we start to go in that place, the party's about to turn. And I mean, it's like, the whole vibe's gonna go. I feel like Jaws is coming up. As the conversation goes up, it's like boom, and we're gonna get crushed. So I'm like, it's now whoever blurts out the safe word, or words, in this case, Macy's is having a sale on sheets. That way we don't have to go into that place. So when I say deliver us from evil, comes right from here. Doesn't it? Comes right from here. I don't care who you are. We all have, look, we've all used this inappropriately. Shame on you, all of you. You're all going to hell. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. What does this mean? For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. You deserve to be in an environment that brings out the best and softness in you, not the survival from you all the time. The kingdom and the power and the glory are, when I look at that, I go, you know what? I don't always want to be in survival mode. I don't always have to be trying to figure it out. We deserve to be in a place of softness. You know what that feels like, right? I was staying with some friends last night, side note, staying with my friends last night, and they had the best bed ever. Okay, I bring that up because the softness in that bed was like a cocoon. I'm like, I never want to get up. And I thought about this slide because I thought about what if I had, so now I want to recreate that feeling in my own life, in my own bed, right? Where did you get this stuff? I want to experience that. So we do that on a spiritual level. Someone learns something about how to garner peace and gather peace in their life, and we become the student and they become the teacher, or you become the teacher and they become the student. Wherever it is where you can learn to garner that softness, that feeling of being secure and calm and peaceful, grab hold of it and recreate that. We're the children of God. God didn't say, I gave you this life to suffer. No. Again, that was your ex. No. Nothing to do with God's will. And you knew it before you married him. All right. Forever and ever, right? Forever and ever. Your consciousness goes before you to announce that you're coming. What it is declaring about you, the words that follow I am, follow you. The words that follow I am, follow you. So when I talk about forever and ever, your consciousness, your mind, your spiritual intentions are constantly in a place of growth or expansion or contraction, right? By what we're thinking, what we're doing. And what I'm saying here is when you declare something about you, when you say, I am, make sure you want whatever is on the other side of that. Because I know a lot of people like, I am so sick and tired. Okay. You've heard me say it before. If you're sick and tired now, you shall have sick and tiredness abundantly flowing over every area of your life. If I'm bored, I am bored. No, you're boring. Get up. I'm feeling unloved. Okay. What are you going to do about loving? What's that? What's that? Find the love. You know where you can find that. Whatever you're declaring about you whatever you're declaring, it's declaring you. Whatever your consciousness is bringing, it's bringing forward your experience. Think of it as like the big red carpet of your life. When you say something, you're welcoming it to come down the red carpet of your life. Is that making sense? Yep. Amen. Amina just means sealed in truth. So when we say Amina, it's Hebrew for sealed in truth. That's why I've been kind of added to our prayers, and so it is, amen, and so it is, sealed in truth. Does that make sense? Don't seek revenge, rotten fruit. This is an addendum. Okay, so we got through the Lord's Prayer. Are you good? Okay, good. So now, this is my addendum. This is the stuff at the end, the little, what do you call those? asterisks, yeah, the side notes, whatever. Don't seek revenge. Rotten fruit will fall by itself. And finally, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, right? Don't seek revenge. Rotten fruit, just let it fall. I don't need to pull it from the tree, and I don't need to step on it. I'm done. I'm done. I'm good. So I've asked the band, we're going to do the offertory, but then I want to hear that song again that they just sang. They spent a lot of time on that. And now I want you to listen to those words again. I want you to reframe some of the words so when you hear it, and you can go out into your world, you can go out into with your people, or in the community, your family, your friends, and feel like you have something to offer them in terms of a new perspective. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to teach what I just taught you. It just means you need to hear that in the back of your mind as they're saying what they say, so you can identify with what they're saying and allow them to stand in their truth, and you get to stand in yours, and no one needs to go to battle on it. Less battles, more love. Make sense? Yes. And so ends your lesson. Boom. Done.